Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Sid.
Hi.
Hi again.
Is this how we start these things now?
Yeah. So today's episode is actually how do I say this? A potential solution to our previous episode about how to hopefully prove that a diamond can be ethically sourced.
Oh, does that go for like gems in general or just diamond?
Well, natural gems, right? Natural diamonds, natural gems. I guess one of the solutions. Just for those that didn't listen to our podcast, the previous episode, or even watched it on YouTube, what we were discussing about was, is it possible to have a diamond be ethically sourced, right? And I went through a bunch of stuff, but the one solution that I did not mention, and I've totally forgot to say this, and I don't know why, especially when we're in the business, is obviously one way to ensure that's ethically sourced is if you don't want a natural, you can always go with a lab created or a moissanite, right? If you go with a lab created or moissanite, chances are it's ethically sourced because it's made in a lab. You don't have to worry about child labor. You don't have to worry about funding being a blood diamond and funding wars, and so on and so on. The list goes on and on and on, right? So that's definitely a solution, but that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is how do we potentially prove, other than just by word of mouth or signing off on a certificate, that a diamond from the mine to wearing it on a person's hand can be truly ethically sourced. And there's an article that was written 2 days ago. This one is on.
It's a contributor article.
Yes, it's a contributor article.
Andrea Hill.
Andrea Hill on Forbes.com. Which was written not too long ago, October 7th of 2018. Mind you that this day that we're filming this is on October 9th of 2018. So it's only been 2 days since this article was written, and is implying that we can use the blockchain technology, which is the same technology that's being used for basically digital currency, right, such as Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Right. So I have very basic understanding of how this technology works. So if you do know more about this technology and I'm saying it wrong, feel free to correct me. Let me know exactly how it works and the works, and maybe you'll help better educate and entertain the audience here.
We're open to spilling the tea in multiple ways. You can spill the tea on us if you want to. All right.
So my basic understanding of this technology is that the way it works is it's an encrypted type of ledger. Once it's been written and coded, it cannot be edited or changed, right? So in other words, if we were to try to prove that a diamond is ethically sourced from the mines all the way from down the supply chain, there's a lot of people that will have to sign off on a piece of paper. That can easily be reprinted, re-signed, forged maybe, right? So it's a huge I guess loophole in the current system, but with the blockchain technology, once it's been documented, you cannot go back and edit it.
It ensures absolute traceability.
Right.
It's not full transparency though, because obviously you have to protect these like sensitive information, just like prices, right? But it's absolute traceability of every element in the jewelry supply chain, from mine to refinery to alloy manufacturer to production company, all the way to the consumer.
Exactly. Now, but the one thing, unless we can get this process automated, right, that I would have to say that may still be a loophole in the system, is that it still requires that somebody documents, right? So in other words, let's just say if we are the laborers of the mining the diamond, hypothetically, then it still requires people to mine, right? Unless we get robots and machines to mine and be able to identify exactly that the diamond came from this source, and then document it digitally and just eliminate people altogether within the process, right? But it still requires somebody to mine. And we can technically certify them and say, hey, these are legitimate workers. They're not children. They're not so on and so on. And then once it's been mined, whether it's gold or whether it's silver or whether it's diamonds, then it requires someone to still document it into this ledger that cannot be edited. I'm sure there's probably automated ways to do these things these days. Maybe the miners can weigh it into a system. The system will automatically generate a ledger, right? So that potentially can be a solution to eliminate the influence of people that may fall into the unethical category, right?
Right.
So I would say that, okay, unless we can automate it, there might still be a loophole. But if it is automated, then it might be a very legitimate solution to this problem. So if a person really wants to know that, hey, that diamond is ethical and not unethical, then this automated system of creating ledgers through the blockchain technology maybe eventually once and for all solves this problem.
Yeah, maybe.
But the issue is the requirement that it requires, right? The diamond business has been around for a long time. The jewelry business has been around for a long time. There are many mines, vendors, suppliers, retailers, many people. The only way to make this work is that every single person in the supply chain has to be okay with the involvement of this technology. They have to be okay with joining and saying, okay, they're part of this process now, and give up some information so that the technology can work within their organization.
Exactly.
So that's the hardest part. I think that's probably the hurdle that the industry has to get through to get everyone to be okay with adopting this technology. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I feel like this is exciting because, for one, I think I've had friends who gotten engaged and, with their, with the diamond rings and everything. But from, like, they would share with me, knowing that we work with moissanite and how, like, we kind of know more about the process of it being in the lab. We also work with diamonds, and so they were just wondering, like, oh, is mine ethically sourced? Like, I'm not really sure now. And then I was talking to them about the Kimberley process, but of course, obviously, we are not exactly sure. A company can claim that they went through the Kimberley process, but again, like, did they tell you from scratch, from beginning to end, like where it was? Right. You don't know. So again, I could not confirm with them, like, yeah, like yours is ethically sourced. I couldn't ensure them that.
Right.
But this would ensure them because, it was tracked by serial number. The data was entered into a supply log or the digital ledger by each and every person along the line. The systems apparently cannot be edited. So, like, I don't know where exactly there can be a loophole, because again, I don't know what companies, what group of people, like what is exactly required of them to have certification, to have that professionalism, to have that label, to certify them, to make sure that they are the ones that are actually able to have access to this and input the information. Because we want to make sure the right people get, the right information, and the people that are giving the information are the right people also. Right.
So there's a lot of
technicalities
and things to be ironed out for sure.
For sure.
For sure. I mean, there's going to be a lot of systems that are, or processes that will need to be enforced within the system, right, in order to make it work, for sure.
Right, and not all of us have access to this yet.
Right, but the beauty of it all is that the idea of it, right? The idea is that, hey, the technology is there.
There's hope.
Now that, exactly, there's hope. So the idea is there, the technology is there. Now it's just a matter of will people adopt it?
Yes.
So that's the hardest part. But hey, it's definitely a step ahead from where we were yesterday, which is a super interesting way to look at it.
Well, it's now fully developed and still in use, but like by big name, brands, right? Like De Beers is using Tracer. That's also mentioned in the article if you were to read it. They also walk through the whole process and everything like that. Of how this works with each and every, blockchain developer or system. And Walmart uses IBM's Trust Chain to ensure, like, food distribution and where that goes and everything like that. So they know where the
source is coming from.
Trust Chain also works with jewelry as well, with, like, I think 5 name brand companies as well, listed in the article. Now, these are big name corporate players. What about the cottage businesses that Andrea mentions is in the article? What about cottage businesses such as our own?
Good point. All I know is what I can observe and based on trends. And based on what I can observe on technology is that it's proven over and over and over again is that given time, if a technology is adopted enough, then the cost of adopting that technology will reduce over time.
Right, because more is available.
So then other players, exactly, so other players could actually jump into doing it. Just for example, just to simplify it, for example, the cell phone, right? If you think about the 1980s, I'm not sure if you've ever seen Wall Street, and those big block cell phones. And nowadays, I mean, everyone has a cell phone, even kids have cell phones, right? Same with flat screen TVs. When it first came out, you're talking about $10,000-$20,000 for a flat screen TV that was maybe about that thick. Now you get a very thin TV, a huge TV, for a lot less. So way less. I mean, everyone's a lot of people has it, right?
That's very true. I don't know how my dad was able to lug around like this gigantic block of a thing in his pocket.
Exactly. Yeah.
You would have to have functional pockets to have that work. And now they're only just rolling out functional pockets for women's fashion.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool though. I mean, at least your dad was able to adopt that technology at that age. I don't remember my dad even having a cell phone until it was quite small.
I'm seeing phone cases now for the the phones that we actually have right now, the very thin phones.
Right.
There are phone cases now where you can put it inside of a really large block phone.
That's kind of a cool idea.
That's cool, but also you're taking like a million steps backwards, and I'm not sure why you're doing that because it's like retro and awesome and funky, but like. Where are you going with that?
Right. So I think, but I mean, back to that point, I think
sorry.
No. I mean, I think the end of the day, as long as the technology is adopted enough, the world will find out a way on how to supply it for less, so that more people can adopt it. Right. So, so to your point, I'm not worried about it. I think blockchain technology is not going anywhere. It's new.
Yes.
And big companies are adopting it. Big companies with that kind of money and resources will not put millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into something that they don't believe is going to happen. And if it's not, I mean, obviously to them it's a drop in the bucket, but they have to somewhat believe in it, right? That's going to either benefit the organization or stick around for a while for them to invest that kind of money. So, so I think. Yeah, I think eventually it's gonna
over time everybody's gonna have a little bit more access to it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, even maybe the end consumer, right? So,
yeah.
Kind of like how jewelry back in the day was only for royalty, queens and kings, and now
you can own like a very large stone on a ring, and
there you go.
Could be a diamond, could be a moissanite, whatever's.
Whatever's.
Yeah.
Not sure what kind of accent that is, but whatever's.
I don't know what it is.
All right, so let us know your thoughts. Let us know especially if you follow technology, and especially the blockchain. I have very limited knowledge on how this works. It's very big picture in terms of how I'm delivering it based on my personal knowledge and what I've read about it. But if you have an input, if you kind of have a better understanding of how this works, or if you have even an opinion on the matter, then definitely leave a comment below. We do respond back to our comments. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let us know if you have a topic that you want us to cover. We'll be more than happy to discuss about it.
Yeah, DM me on Instagram, fireandbrilliance.
Yeah. So there you go. That's episode 12 of Spilling the Tea with F&B.
Bye.
Bye.